Hello everybody, this is Ro. Welcome to the Tequila Princess channel. Today we're gonna be doing a get to know me tag. So I'm very excited and also very nervous to share with you a little bit of who I am. And hopefully, if there are still some things that you want to know about me, you can leave them in the comments and I will make another video. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What is your name? My name is Rocio. Ro for you. And nice to meet you. What is your middle name? Actually, I go by my middle name. If you want to guess my first name, go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you know me in real life and you already know it, don't write it, please. How old are you? I am 35 years old and looking younger, hopefully. How tall are you? I am 1 meter and 60 centimeters, which in American standards would be 5 feet 2, almost 3. What is your eye color? That is actually a very interesting question. My eye color is brown, but for some odd reason, through my whole life, I have been told more than once that I have green eyes. But no, they are not green. They are just like hazelnutty, light brown, but brown, still brown, and I love them. Where are you from? I am from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico City. And where do you live now? Well, after leaving Mexico City, I moved to where I live now, Guadalajara, because my parents' family it's from here, so they were living here. I moved in with them, and then I've been moving around everywhere. I went to live in Brazil because I have a sister that lives there, and then I came back here for a few months, and then I moved to Canada because that's where my ex-boyfriend was, and we were living together for a little while. And then I came back here to Guadalajara, and then I moved to Playa del Carmen, which is near Cancun. And actually, almost a year ago, thanks to coronavirus crisis, I had to go back to my parents, and now I live in Guadalajara again. What do you do for a living? Well, basically nothing. Well, I think coronavirus has changed everybody's life, and of course mine was not untouched. So let me tell you a little background. I studied graphic design, never ever worked at that, because life happened and I crossed my paths with flight attendant, and I was doing that for a little while, almost 4 years. After that, I became a tequila tour guide. That's why the Tequila Princess, it's me. And after that, I moved to Playa del Carmen, where I was a salesperson at the boutique of a very fancy, ultra luxurious, beautiful hotel. And well, then I'm here with my parents doing nothing. I've been reading a lot. I've been learning a lot of things, but basically, I am a YouTuber to be. What is your favorite food? Mexican. I know it sounds obvious that a Mexican person would say that loves Mexican food, but really, I do not have like one favorite dish, but all the dishes that I love are Mexican. I do love other cuisines, for of course, but just Mexican is my top. And desserts. I love desserts. I have a huge sweet tooth. What is your favorite drink? It goes without saying. Tequila. Well, of course, tequila when we're talking about alcohol, but non-alcoholic, that changes a lot. But I would go for a coffee, a latte coffee. What is your favorite color? That is super simple. Aqua. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of aqua stuff. Well, maybe not a lot, but I have a few aqua stuff behind me. Favorite smell? That's very easy. Freshly cut grass. I love the smell. It's so fresh, so green, so invigorating. Favorite book? That's also very easy for me. The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jane M. Auel. I will be doing a review on that one later. Favorite YouTubers? Oof, there are many that I love. I think mostly women. Nikki Tutorials, of course. She's a gorgeous woman, so strong, so powerful, and her whole story, I think, it's a proof that you can overcome basically anything. Jessie Bum. Also, Jasmine is just so cute and funny and naive and authentic. She has this childlike vibe on her, and I just love her. She seems to be so genuine. I think she would be the person that I would be friends with easily on real life. Denislava also. I adore her sweet, sweet talking voice and her strong accent, that Bulgarian accent on her English is just so cute. And her makeups are also very pretty. And she's like super down to earth, I think. And I love that about her. Also, Rebecca, vocal athlete. I love her. She's so strong and funny and bubbly. I love it. And finally, Murphy Napier. I hope I said it right. I think that her taste in books is so similar to mine. And although I have not been reading as much as I would like to, she's given me quite a long list of books that I actually want to find the time to read. How many siblings do you have? I have two siblings. One sister that is 11 years older than me, and she lives in Brazil. And I have a brother that is 10 years older than me, and he lives in Canada. So we are kind of taking all over the place. What is your zodiac sign? I am a Cancer. If you read the description of how a Cancer is, me. I am so like the description. I can be the most sensitive, the most mushy, vulnerable thing, but I also can be the toughest, strongest, hardest to reach kind of person. Just like a crab, you know? Soft belly, but hard exterior. And don't mess with me. Dogs or cats? That's a very, very easy one. Cats. 1000 times cats. I'm the crazy cat lady. Although I only have one right now. Pimienta, which you will be seeing here because she's not very friendly with the camera. Tea or coffee? Lately, I've been drinking more coffee, but when I was living in Montreal, I was drinking a lot of tea. And then in Brazil, I was drinking a lot of coffee. But in Mexico, I usually went more for tea. So I would say that I am both. Do you speak any other languages? Well, as a Mexican, of course, my first language is Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo están? Mucho gusto. And I also speak French. Salut, ça va? Enchanté de vous connaître. And I was learning Russian for a little while, but it's actually quite harder than I was expecting it, so I didn't learn that much. Привет, как дела? Я говорю чуть-чуть по-русски. And well, because I was living in Brazil, I do understand Portuguese, although I do not speak it. It's more like Portuñol, more ñol than Portu. What is your go-to hairstyle? Well, these beautiful curls, although I love them, take a lot of time to get the full potential. So most likely you will see me on a braid. I love braids. French braids, one side, two braids, normal braids, whatever kind of braids that I can try, I will try and use all the time. Who was your first best friend? Her name is Nadia. She and all her neighbors basically saved my childhood. As my siblings are way older than I am, I was pretty much a lonely girl. And in the street where I lived, there were no other children my age. So when I met her and I started going to play at her house, everything changed because there were like 14 or 16 kids on her street. Most of them were boys, but still, we always found a way to play together. If they were playing soccer, we would be the cheerleaders. If they were playing wrestling, we would be the girls that come out with the number. Or, whatever we were playing, we will just find a way to integrate the boys and girls games. And yeah, literally that saved my childhood. So if you are watching this, Nadia, thank you. Who was your first crush? Pedro Infante. He was a Mexican actor and singer, very, very, very popular during the 50s, I think. He was one of the most important actors from the Mexican golden age of cinema. For me, he was super handsome and super romantic, so manly, and he had this beautiful voice.
Pasaste a mi lado con gran indiferencia, tus ojos ni siquiera voltearon hacia mí.
I used to say that I was gonna marry him when I was older, until one day my brother, when I was about 4 years old, I think, he told me that was impossible because he was already dead. Oh my god. I cried and cried and cried like for 2 or 3 days. It was dramatic and so sad, but yeah, he was my very first crush. When was the last time that you cried? Oof, that's a hard one because I cry for absolutely everything. If I like all my strong emotions, I always take them out crying. It's like the way my body deals with that. And if I'm super happy, I'll cry. If I'm super sad, I'll cry. If I'm super angry, oh god, I hate that. But if I'm super angry, I'll cry. That's annoying, the most annoying part. But also, I cry with TV commercials. I cry with the trailers at the movies. I cry with the movies. I cried with cartoons, and I cry just thinking about how other people was feeling when something happened to them. It's just cry for everything. I was watching with my parents the nanny, this very old 90s show. It's comedy, complete comedy. But I cried with it. So ridiculous. But yeah, I think the chapter was about Mother's Day, and the children in the show didn't have their mother because she died a few years ago, and the dad didn't want to talk about it. They never did, and after a bunch of things that happened to the chapter, the dad decides to share with the kids a homemade video where they can see their mom, because the youngest of the children said that she didn't remember her mother. And he was like, oh my god, yeah, I'm totally screwing this. And it was just the very last part of the episode. And even if it is meant to be a comedy, the whole show, I was just crying thinking of how emotional the kids would have been by watching a homemade video of their mom. Yeah, you get the idea. Where was the furthest you've been from home? I would have to check on a map, probably, but I would say Italy. I'm not sure if it is Rome or Venice, the one farthest from Mexico, but one of those. So, what is the craziest thing you have done? Oof. I'm not exactly a reckless kind of person, but I would say that I have had my share of crazy stuff. So, the craziest thing that I've ever done, I was staying in London for my birthday, and I realized I was so close to Paris and I didn't know Paris. So I took a train without having a hotel reservation, without having a person to arrive with, traveling by myself. And in the rush of the moment, I decided it was a brilliant idea to take my backpack and not my purse with me. Don't ask me why, I still wonder that myself. I ended up arriving to Paris around 7 p.m. It was high season because it was July. I just couldn't find accommodation until maybe 10 ish. Acting on the rush of the moment, I think it's okay to be spontaneous and to be adventurous. But I think for making a decision, you need to go through some basic stuff before you actually make the decision. And I just didn't. I ended up there without money, without food, without a place to stay, and I was feeling so lost. Thank God everything worked out, but it was just crazy. So many things could have happened to me in that city because of the area where I was. I was just young and naive and stupid. I will tell you the whole story of that travel later, because it was kind of a nightmare. Although I wouldn't change it for anything because I learned so much. Okay, so those were all the questions that I had on my list. If you still have some questions, you can leave them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer all your questions. Thank you for watching this, and nice to meet you. It was amazing to share a little bit of me with you, and hopefully you would like this video and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, as this is my very first video. I assume that you haven't already. So if you hit that beautiful subscribe button down there, I will be so happy, and believe me, that will help me a lot. So that's it, and see you next time. Bye!